Welcome everybody, Social Food Network. More basics for you guys today. We're doing a chicken stock. So today we're doing a brown chicken stock. There are different types, but today we're doing a brown one. So I've got my pan on nice and hot here. I'm going to put a little bit of oil in. So this is just a veg oil. I'm going to get that nice and hot, almost so it's starting to smoke. So there's different types of stock. There's a white chicken stock, which is basically where you don't roast the bones and you just boil it up in some water with some vegetables. But like I say, this will impart much more flavour and it will give a nice richness to the sauce. So the pan's hot. On my plate here, I've got some onions. Basically, this is great for using up any bits of veg that you've got lying around. So I've got some onion, some leek, some carrot, garlic, bay leaves, some thyme, and then some shallots. Okay, so my pan's hot. I'm just going to go in with all this. I'm going to get a good colour on that. You want to hear a sizzle when it goes in. Okay, I'm just going to give that a little mix up. So, the reason obviously I'm showing you chicken stock is it is a basic and it's great for making sort of your own stews, making your own sauces. It's quite a vital part of cooking. You can make beef stock or veal stock, which is a little bit more gelatinous and a little bit more sort of dark and sticky. But chicken is probably the best all-round stock. So, just going to get a bit of colour onto these vegetables. Okay, pan's nice and hot. So obviously if you've got a bigger pan at home, you can save up your carcasses, you can do 2 or 3 and you can make a big pan of it. We've just got the one, we've got a small pan today. The process is exactly the same. So we're roasting off. So you can see it's starting to get colour on everything now. I'm just going to turn it up a little bit. There we go. So it's dead basic. You've got your mirepoix of vegetables here, which is just a fancy term for large dice. So you've got your mirepoix, got a chicken, I've got some white wine over here, so it's just dried white wine, and then obviously my water. So it's quite important that the water is cold. So basically what you want to do is you want to bring the water up. And probably the most important part of the stock is when it first comes to the boil. So it first comes to the boil, you need to have a ladle and a pan or a spare tub ready, and you're just going to ladle all that fat off that comes to the surface, and that's going to give you a nice sort of clean stock at the end. So I've got a nice colour on these vegetables now. Again, because it's a brown stock, we roast it. If you wanted to do more of a white stock, then you don't really need to roast all the vegetables. So chicken wise, nicely roasted. It's better to do it low and slow, so you put it in the oven, you know, lower temperature, 160, and get a real nice kind of sort of golden colour all the way around. It's not black anywhere because that would make our stock bitter. So it's just nice and golden. So all the bones from the legs there and the wing tips. So that's all going to go in there. I'm just going to give that a mix up. So once this stock comes to the boil and we've skimmed it, we're probably going to cook it for 3 to 4 hours. So everything kind of has a shelf life. If you used to cook it for much longer, it just starts to get a bit dull in flavour. So it's about 3 to 4 hours. In with the white wine, a nice generous amount. So your pan should be hot and you should hear that sizzle, okay? You want to reduce that wine nice and quick. So bring that down. Great smells coming from it. You've got your roasted garlic, your thyme, all your roasted vegetables, and obviously the chicken. So we just want to reduce that down, and then we've got our water ready here. I'm just going to go in with the water, and you want to cover the chicken bones. So if you think you're going to sort of reduce this and boil this up for sort of 3 to 4 hours, you need enough water in there. You can always add a little bit more as you go in. We'll put a little bit more there. So now with this chicken stock, like I said, it's quite important to get that first boil. So we're gonna leave it. We're gonna let it come up to the boil. When it comes up to the boil, we're gonna skim it, and that's, like I said, the quite important bit. So we're taking all that fat off so it doesn't have a chance to boil back into it. And then we're going to drop the stock down to a gentle simmer, so just as the bubbles break the surface, and then we're going to let that sort of simmer for 3 to 4 hours. Then that's your chicken stock done. Guys, we're just slowly coming up to the boil now. I'm just going to give you a quick recap of what we've got in the pan here. So our chicken carcass from our previous video where we deboned the chicken and we took all the breasts and the legs and the wings off. We've roasted that. That has been roasted in a nice low oven. Seasoned with a bit of salt, a little bit of olive oil, roasted to golden brown. Then we have roasted all our vegetables. So what we've got in here is, you can literally, like I said, use anything you've got. So here we've got leeks, we've got onions, some shallots, some garlic, some thyme and some bay leaves. So if you look now, it's starting to just come up to this first boil. So if you have a look on the top, there's lots of small little bubbles and there's little bits of oil and grease that come out of the chicken. So this is what I was saying is the important part. So we're going to have a ladle ready, and I'm just going to slowly start to skim, we call it, skim all this off the top. So like I say, this is the important bit. If you let it boil back into the stock, you'll never end up with a clean stock because you're never going to be able to get that oil back out of it. Once you've done that first initial skim, then the rest of it's okay. So I'm just going to get all this off. Take your time here. This is where you don't want to rush. It's really worth taking that time. And then obviously when we're happy with it and we've skimmed it, we're just going to turn it down to a gentle simmer and we're going to leave it. I'm going to leave it three to 4 hours. And when it comes to being finished, you want to drain it through a nice fine sieve, get all the little bits out. And you should just let it cool down, and then you can put it in the freezer or use it straight away, obviously if you've got something planned for it. So it's coming up to the boil. We've skimmed it. We're just going to turn it down now to a gentle simmer and get the last little bit of fat off the top. Last little bit. And there we go. So down to a gentle simmer. Usually sort of medium to low heat. It doesn't need to be very high. And that's it. I'm going to leave that, like I say, 3 to 4 hours, and that's our brown chicken stock. Very simple, very effective in all your sauces or any braids of meat or meats that you're going to do. So again, thank you very much for taking your time. That's our brown chicken stock from Social Food Network, and we'll see you again. Bye bye.